in that distant, ancient dynasty. The years are long and the story slowly unfolds in the interweaving of prosperity and power. There was a wonderful girl who was trapped in a strange and disturbing dream every night. As she drifted off to sleep, the same man's silhouette would be rampant in her dreams. The scene in the dream, sometimes tender and loving, but often change. The man's behavior always with a kind of irresistible dominance, forcibly close to her, so that even in her sleep, she cannot rest. Every time she woke up, cold sweat-soaked clothes, full of fear and confusion about the dream phantom, the girl was tormented by this endless nightmare to the point of exhaustion. She thought hard, decided that the waste of the bright red mole must be the root of all this. In extreme despair and determination, she was ruthless, found a sharp blade, gritted her teeth, endured severe pain and cut off the red mole. She naively thought that this would sever the mysterious bond with the man in her dream and return to a peaceful life. However, she was completely unaware that the man in her dream was not an ordinary person. He was actually the son of heaven who dominated the world, a tyrant who was known for his brutality, which shocked the court and made the people feel cold. The girl's destiny seems to have been pulled by a mysterious force from the moment she was born. Back then, at the time of her croaking, the ancestor sent down a chilling dream prophecy, declaring that she would be transformed into a demon princess, bringing endless disasters to the dynasty. This prophecy loomed over her family like a cloud of darkness. The prime minister, as the girl's father, is thrown into a great struggle and fear in his heart after learning that his daughter is the person in the dream that the emperor is pursuing so hard for the sake of the family's honor and peace. He did not hesitate to be ruthless and kill his own flesh and blood. That cold order was given. The assassin quietly sneaked into the girl's residence, and the rope mercilessly snapped around her slender neck just when the girl thought she was about to die. The prime minister's wife, like a ray of hope, arrived in time to save the girl with the power of a mother's love. After witnessing this life and death struggle, the prime minister's fatherly love and family responsibilities collided fiercely within his heart. In the end, he chose to compromise and let the girl go. But he also made a harsh request to her to avoid the world for the rest of her life, far away from the hustle and bustle of the world and its disputes. The girl was thus sent to the Chang'an Temple, where she tried to forget the past and seek inner peace in the company of the ancient Buddha. And amidst the splendor of the palace, the emperor's days were not easy. Although he sits on the throne, he is tormented by his inner desires and guilt. On this day, with his thoughts and guilt for the Empress Dowager, he stepped into the solemn place of sacrifice. Perhaps the past killings were too heavy and his sins too deep. Or perhaps the pressure of this palace life was like a big mountain that pressed him to breathe. In the process of worshipping the Empress Dowager, the emperor suddenly suffered from a head disease. His eyes blackened, and the whole person fainted helplessly on the ground. The threads of fate were quietly intertwined at this moment, and the girl happened to be passing by at this very moment. She inadvertently caught a glimpse of the fainted emperor and approached curiously. However, when her gaze fell on top of the emperor's face, in an instant, her face turned as white as a sheet of paper, and her body involuntarily trembled slightly. She was horrified to recognize that the emperor in front of her was the very man who had haunted her like a demon in her dreams. At that moment, the girl's heart was filled with fear and despair, as if the entire world was collapsing in an instant. In panic, she instinctively realized that she must not let the emperor see herself. So, in the nick of time, when the emperor was about to open his eyes, she reached out her hand in a swift manner and tightly covered his eyes, and then turned around and fled from the scene recklessly. She knew that between herself and the tyrant, as if tightly bound by the giant hand of fate, a thrilling life and death and fate of the storm is about to sweep. And she, just a weak woman, in front of this raging wave of destiny, without the power to fight back, can only desperately run away on this unknown path of destiny, as if there are countless pairs of eyes behind her staring at her closely. Every step is full of unknowns and dangers.